And so I just randomly showed up on a job, had envelopes with $100 in each one of them, and just handed them to the guy.
Welcome to Jobber's Masters of Home Service podcast, where successful business owners share their secrets for making your business more profitable and efficient. I'm your host, Adam Sylvester, owner of Charlottesville Lawn Care and Charlottesville Gutter Pros for the last 15 years. I truly believe that service entrepreneurs need to come together from different service industries and swap stories, share tips, and learn from each other. By getting together and sharing each other's successes and failures, we can help each other level up. And that's the mission of Masters of Home Service. On today's episode, we're talking about how to hire the best people and how to make sure they stick around. With me is Oscar Gill, owner of R3 Auto Detailing and Detail Groove in Houston, Texas. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
And Brandon Sewell, owner of Seal Pro Painting in Titusville, Florida. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Let's cut to the chase. Oscar, what are service companies getting wrong when it comes to hiring?
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty big topic. I think all of us go through the problems of, like, you try to hire, so you have this kind of grand idea of like, okay, when I hire this person, we're gonna do all these great things. I'm gonna make sure he's happy, he's great, whatever. But then once you hire someone, it's a totally different ballgame. So speaking out of experience for me, I think a big mistake or error that I did early on is, like, when you hire someone, you want to put them on this big pedestal, right? You want to make sure, like, they're gonna be the happiest person, that they're gonna get all the great things. You're gonna get paid the most. You're gonna get all the hours.
Red carpet for
yeah, just like, hey, this is the best place you're ever gonna work at. And then once the ball gets rolling, it's like, oh yeah, so like this week we're a little low on hours, so I guess I'll just like pay you to do some random things so I can keep you happy. The problem with that though is that, like, you set these high expectations, and one, like, maybe your business isn't at that point that you can deliver on all those high expectations, and then two, you start focusing more on just keeping that person happy versus like growing the business. And not that that's wrong, but like there's a time and place on when you should just try to make that person happy and like keep them on your team or giving them hours, versus like, okay, like, look, we're slow this week. We're gonna do 20 hours instead of the 40 that I told you, and next week the schedule should pick up. So, like, one of the big things is, like, now that I've hired a few other people, it's like setting the right expectations. Like, this is exactly what I need from you. Here's what the schedule is gonna look like. It might fluctuate because of weather, hours, customers, whatever. Ideally, I like to get you around, like, let's say 20, 30 hours, whatever. And, like, letting the person know, like, it's going to always be changing. Like, I wish I could tell you that every day is going to be 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. But in the industry that we're in, weather plays a big factor into us and how we run the schedule. Customers might add a service last second. A customer might reschedule last minute. So it's like, the schedule's like alive. It's always moving. It's always going up, going down. My goal is to get you around 25-ish, 30-ish hours a week, but it might be 40 one week, might be 15 hours one week. So one of the things of many things is, like, setting the right expectations with the individual. Like, from day one when you hire them, even during the interview process of saying, like, hey, this is the standard we work on. Here's what we do. Here's what we don't tolerate. Here's what, like, just the standard that we operate at. So I think that's important.
Yeah.
So I really love what Oscar said. I mean, that's so true. I even made the mistake before of hiring on guys, and I wanted to keep them happy and make sure that they were, getting their hours. So I just guaranteed them their hours no matter what. And that seriously backfired on me. And so I had to do what Oscar was saying. I had to, like, backtrack and then set better expectations. And I really, my employees are happier that way, because you're delivering on those expectations. And one of the biggest mistakes that I see is there's a lot of, like, blame. I hear even friends of mine who have home service businesses of, like, I can't find good help. I hire a guy and he only lasts a couple weeks. It's hard to find people, and I can't keep good help. And those business owners, when I look and I see their system and their process for hiring people or onboarding them or training them, it's just lacking. For us, that's been a really big focus, is implementing really strong job descriptions that we put out for jobs that we're hiring for that attract great people. We have a very structured interview process, and we do it the same every time. And then when we onboard guys, we have an onboarding process with training and getting them integrated into how our business operates and what our expectations are, so that we're setting them up for success. And it's professional. When you're looking for guys who have great attitudes. They want to do something great. They have, big expectations for what they can accomplish in their own lives. They have dreams. They have vision. You want to be able to present something to them that is going to be attractive. I kind of think to myself, like, how would I feel going into this interview? Am I going to feel like I'm going into a professional company that has great opportunities and is structured and is organized? Or am I showing up and meeting the guy on the job in his truck and being told, hey, like, let's see how this goes? And there's no structure to it. It's just like, hey, show up on so-and-so day, we'll see how it works out. And, if you like it and I like you and all that, we'll see how it goes. So yeah. I think we have to do better as home service business owners in having those systems and processes in place to attract great people and keep them.
So many times I see these really aggressive, mean job descriptions. Like, you have to have a license, and you have to be 18, you have to lift all this weight, you have to be this and this and this, and if you're not, then don't even apply. And I'll be honest, at one point that's attractive to me because I wanted to filter out all the bad ones. But that's not a very compelling job posting, right? And so just like when we are doing marketing to our clients, hey, what's your pain? What's your problem? How do we solve that problem? It's the exact concept with hiring people. Hey, what do you want in life? Okay, you want a salary? Do you want time off? Do you want 401k? And then post those things in your job description, because the people that you want will see that stuff like, oh, this is a different kind of place that has the things that I want. And he's not just barking at me to make sure I'm not late, And so I think we're losing people in the very beginning, right off the bat, because we're not bringing them in like we do with clients. We spend $1,000s on marketing, and then we spend $15 a month on a Craigslist ad to hire, and that doesn't work.
Yeah, because it's the same thing of like, you do all this marketing, you want to have like a proper customer service and a customer experience to make sure that the customers are happy and paying you top dollar. But then like that should have the same mindset toward like bringing on employees. Like, you want to make sure the employee is absolutely happy, that they have a good onboarding process, they get trained properly, that they're taken care of while they're there, that they enjoy being there. And a lot of times it's like, you have like customer facing, you're like, yes, like we want to be the best of the customer. But then to the employees, are like, yeah, we just, hardly got trained. Like, I don't really talk to the boss. He just kind of, shoots me over there to go do whatever. So it's like the same way we try to be with the customers, like we should equally be like that with all the employees.
Do you guys do much with references when you hire somebody, you're hiring somebody, interviewing them, and they give you, do you ask for references?
We do require them, but it just depends on what kind of vibe I get from the person on whether I would actually feel like I need to make calls for the references. It's not something I do every time. Like, if I get a really good vibe from somebody and in the interview process, I may not do the reference check, but we, like, on our job descriptions, we say that they need to submit references. So that if I feel like kind of on the fence about a potential hire, that I have that as an option to call for references.
So
Which we have.
If I'm on the fence, they're a no. So that's a good. What do you think?
It depends on the position. For like a tech, not for that. Just because it's a more lenient, because it's like, we're not asking you here to, I don't need you to have a lot of history or a lot of references, just because the job itself doesn't require that. So most of the time we don't. The time that I would be like, for us, like, we have a content editing position. So with something like that, maybe not references, but like, can you show me some portfolio of work at least? I don't need to hear from your prior boss that you were whatever. Just show me that you know what you say you know how to do, and then I that's what I usually go off of. Not so much references. I don't.
Yeah. So I'm a little different. I love references. One, because it can immediately knock somebody out. And so if a reference, especially if I liked them, especially if they're really smooth on the phone or they're really smooth, I call the references, or somebody from the company does, and they're like, oh no, don't hire them. That case closed. Now if they say, oh, they're great, that doesn't mean they're hired, because I get that a lot. But a lot of times it's a quick knockout. They're like, oh, yeah, no, not good. But if they rave and rave and rave, and I ultimately hire that person, I can go back and say, hey, listen, like, Fred, Joe, and Paul, they all said great things about you. And it really edifies them, and it gets us off to a strong footing. So I'm a huge fan of references. All my bad hires came from people I didn't call references for. Good. Looking back. So what do you guys think about, just where are you getting people? Give us some good sources.
So I use Indeed for job postings, which we've
use Indeed too.
Yeah, I have in the past.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
And we found good people there. But my number one way of getting people is we offer a bonus for referrals from our current employees. So if they reference somebody else and they interview for the position and they stay on for 90 days, then the person who referred them and that person get a bonus when they make it to 90 days. And then the person that referenced them, I give them another bonus, just after a certain amount of time. And that's really worked well for us because the guys that I have that are doing great, love the company, love the culture, love what they're doing, they understand our values and our mission as a company, they're like our best spokespeople for talent, because hopefully they're referring that person because they know they're a good fit for the team, right? And it's somebody that they want to work with, that they'd enjoy working with. So I've had guys say, yeah, I've got a guy from the company that I came from who's actually looking for work, and I'd love to have him come work here. So that's happened multiple times.
Yeah, for me, it depends where you are in the business, right? Like if you're trying to get your first helper, like part-time, if you're a solo operator, I think one of the easiest way is just to literally like announce it to all your friends and family members. Because when you're hiring your first helper, call it like 15 hours a week or so, it's not like you need this super talented, like, dude that's been in the trades for 20 years, right? You just need him to do some basic stuff. So the way I heard my first helper was my cousin. I just put it out there like, hey, I'm looking for some help, just because the schedule's getting a little, it's going into spring rush and the schedule was already looking kind of crazy. So I was like, no, let me go get some help this time. So it was literally just posting it on my Instagram stories. And then my cousin was able to help me out for like 8 months. And like, it was a helper. It was like 30-ish hours a week, but I learned so much from us working together as far as having a system down, what it means like have a good like working team together. So that was like the first iteration. Because I have a platform and such, I'm able to post on my stories that we're hiring, and we get people to apply that way. So for me, I've used Indeed, but then I just didn't really like the quality of the leads that were coming through there. Granted, it's also like how you post it and all that stuff, like the actual job description.
Variables, yeah.
Yeah, it's not just saying Indeed doesn't work. It's just everything that you have to do to make it work. So my number one way is through either just personal outreach, like post it on your Instagram stories, Facebook, whatever, just make a post. And then the other way is using my own platform to just put a job listing out that we're hiring.
Yeah. That's great. Let's take a 30-second break and we'll come right back.
I could never go on vacation. Running my renovation and contracting business took up all of my time until I found Jobber. Last year, I actually headed out of the country and went to the beach for my vacation. I could schedule my team, update job details, make sure my customers were getting taken care of, and we were getting paid. All from the beach. You need a vacation, and you can do that too. You need Jobber.
Smoother from start to finish. Quote, schedule, invoice, and get paid. Start your free trial today at jobber.com.
So now we've hired somebody, they're on board, and they're a rock star. And we've got a whole fleet of them. We've got a whole bunch of rock stars on our team. How do you keep them? Because other companies want them to work at their company. How do we make sure they stay? What kind of things are you guys doing to make sure that they stay happy, to use a light word?
I think it really takes ownership on your end as the owner of the company to create a work environment, create a business and a culture that cultivates people wanting to stay there. It's simple things. I used to think that it could be really complex reasons why guys leave, and sometimes it's simple stuff like just making sure that you're organized. The guys have what they need every day to do their job. There's clear expectations on what they're doing each day. There's great communication, knowing that when you tell them what they're going to get paid, they get paid that. If you offer them incentives or bonuses, you deliver on that. And really just having everything be very predictable and then delivering on it. I've had guys come to my company and they've said, we saw that you used Jobber. We were like blown away. Our last boss didn't have anything like this. Sometimes we didn't know where we were going each day. He would give us like just over the phone directions to get to the job. Like, oh yeah, go down the street, where the gas station is, go down and make a right. It's the house by the, red mailbox, so they didn't like that. They didn't have a schedule where they could guarantee that they had work, where my guys, they can go in and they can see, okay, we've got work lined up for months. You know, there's job security there. They know that they're going to be able to get their hours and get work. Whereas before, maybe they didn't have that. They didn't have that organization. Also offering incentives and bonuses. But the way that my approach to it as of recently has been making it kind of random and not so structured. And I think what that does is it changes the guy's mindset to really feel, more appreciated. Whereas if it's just expected, it just kind of almost becomes more like entitled to that, whatever that bonus structure is. For example, we got a handful of 5-star reviews, like, in a row. And the guys, like, customers were just raving about how great the guys were doing, and they were so happy to have them at their homes. And so I just randomly showed up on a job, had envelopes with $100 in each one of them, and just handed them to the guys. I didn't even tell them what was in it. I just said, hey guys, can I get you over here really quick? I just wanted to tell you I'm so thankful for the hard work that you guys are doing. Keep it up. We're getting a lot of great reviews, and just want you guys to know that I appreciate you. Have a great weekend. This is just something for me to show my appreciation. I do that just at random times, or, go get some gift cards and say, hey, because I'll get to know my guys and know the things that they like and give them gift cards based on that. We had this big job where it was 3 stories, and my guys were a little nervous to get up onto this, like, one peak to paint this soffit and fascia. And so I told him, I was like, all right, well, I've got this subcontractor where he's, like, not afraid of heights at all. I'll have him come there tomorrow, and he'll take care of it. You guys don't have to worry about it. And so that same day at, like, 4 o'clock, they messaged me. They're like, hey, don't send that guy. He's like, we got it.
We'll need that guy.
So they did it. They, and I was, like, so thankful because they saved me money. One, I didn't have to get a lift, which would have cost me like $1,500 for that just one day to reach, like, one spot, or hire a subcontractor who wasn't scared to get up there and pay them extra, which would eat into the job. I ended up going and getting each of them $200 gift cards, and showed up on the job and gave it to him and said, thank you so much for handling that. I know it was uncomfortable for you, but I do want you to know that I really appreciate that you guys did that. And that, like, that made them feel better about, because that's taking a risk going up 3 stories and, getting up there onto this awkward peak with a, pretty steep pitch on this one roof. And yeah, just doing random things like that has been great for me.
Yeah, that's huge. Oscar, what do you think?
Yeah, one thing I always look back is, like, I just look at all the other jobs that I had in the past, and I was like, and most of them are like, man, the working here sucks. Like, and you can point out at the things that made it suck, right? Like, maybe it was the leadership, maybe it was the team that they assembled. There was no work vibe between the team members. Everyone was kind of doing their own thing every single day. So, like, you look at the past, all the jobs that you've had, and you're like, okay, well, what would make it not suck like that? What's a good place that, that you'd actually, like, be happy to come to? And it's, like, of course, like, having cool people to work with, right? To make sure, like, everyone vibes together, has good energy between each other. The boss, right, is like, talks to you, understands you. So one thing I do in the hiring process is I try to understand, like, what that individual wants out of life for himself, right? So I always ask, like, what are your interests? What are your hobbies? What are your things you want to do? Do you have a side business? Is there a passionate hobby that you do? So with us, a lot of people, and I'm sure it's for every service industry, of like, oh, I have a side business. And you ask what it is. Oh, it's detailing, right? We have a detailing business. I do detailing on the side. So with that, I try to just, like, facilitate any form of growth that they can take away to other parts of their life, right? So if, let's say, they mention, like, yeah, I'm just not good at talking to people, or I'm an introvert or whatever, it's like, would you like to get better at talking to people? Would you want to be put in situations where you actually have to practice those social skills with customers? And if that's something that they want to do, fantastic. Like, we could, over time, like, if you want to actually get better at it, we can put you in those situations. If you do want to start your own business, like, by all means, like, I don't expect you to stay here for the next 6 years. It'd be cool if you do, but if you stay here for 6 months, I mean, like, just take as much as you can. Give me your all, right? Like, learn as much as you can and follow what we do here, and take whatever you learn and apply it to your next venture, because it's just, you're going to leave. Whether it's in 6 months or 6 years, I don't know when that's going to be, but I'll do my best to, like, give you whatever resources you need that you can take to your next thing in life. So I try to see, like, what can we do here? That way it's not just, oh, I'm going to work. It's like, oh, I'm going to work. Oh, plus I get to learn whatever I want to learn, so that whenever I go and do my next thing, I'm already being prepared for that next thing. Yeah. So I try to say, like, well, what is it that you want? Like, how can how can this be more than just it's a meeting? It's like a us thing. Like you are also hand in hand learning and winning by being here as well.
That's a great point, Oscar. Brandon, I'm curious what you think about hiring people who are upfront about having a side hustle in painting. That's exactly what you do. Is that okay with you? Is that a threat to you? What do you think about employees who have a side hustle of their own doing what they do for you?
Yeah, so I don't have any problem with it at all. What I tell guys when they come to work for me is that what I want them to do is grow no matter what. And I want to invest in them, help them to have greater opportunity. And I say, whether you stay here with my company, here's your growth opportunities. But if you want to go and start your own company, I want to help you prepare for that. And I've had multiple employees that I've actually helped start their own businesses. And I don't feel threatened by it because I know how hard it is to get to where I am. Right. And so I know the work that has to be put in. And I even, like, when they start their businesses, there's jobs that either aren't a good fit for us, we can't get to. And so I refer them away, and I'll tell whoever calls me, I'll say, hey, I've got this former employee of mine. I can vouch that he's a really great worker. He does quality work. Give him a call. He should be able to take care of you. And so I'll even refer those jobs away, and that helps me. So I don't get intimidated by it. I just look at it as an opportunity to help somebody else. And I always say, like, if they end up building a bigger business than I do, or they end up being super successful, then they deserve it.
I agree. I'm not really threatened by employees who do that. The pie is plenty large,
Yeah.
And I've actually even rented equipment to employees to use after hours. So I'm not threatened by it. I think if I was, that'd be a weakness. It would show like you're really threatened by some guy by himself. We're a little bigger than that. And so I think it's also a sign of strength that we're not threatened by that kind of thing.
Yeah. We do have a employee policy manual, though, that it does create some boundaries. So like in our onboarding process, we go through the employee policy manual and we go over one of the points of like doing side work. And so the only rules or boundaries that I have there is like they can't take side work from my customers. So like if they're on one of my jobs and a customer says like, hey, could you, do this
Come over tonight and do this
like,
little thing.
It wasn't if I found out about it, that would be an, instant, no good, you're out of here. But I tell them like if it's after hours or it's on your own time on the weekend and it's a side job you have and you want to do some extra work, like by all means, if that's what you want to do, go for it. I'm not gonna hold you back there. There's even been customers where there's like a scope of work that I don't want to deal with. The customer will say, hey, can you give me a bid for this? And I'm like, no, but my employee, he has the ability to do that. You can talk to him about doing that and just do that on the side and deal with him on that. And sometimes there's, things that I just don't want to deal with, and my guys end up doing it.
We also lend out tools to, not lend, it just, that sounds even too serious. Like he doesn't have all the tools and products that he needs. He would post on his Instagram stories like him working with what he has. And again, like it's not a threat that someone wants to start their own business because like you're empowering them, right? And obviously, just good karma. Like if you have that kind of work environment where they're saying, man, like he's giving me tools that like so I can go do my own business and make my own money. It just builds that sense of like they're looking out for me. It's not just a place where I'm clocking in. Like they're really trying to help me be a better person. Like help me propel forward. And you can look at it as like, well, they're gonna leave you faster. It's like, yeah, but regardless, they're gonna leave, and you can slow them down or be the good person. Not even just a boss, but like be that person that like will help push them to the next phase in their life and in their new business. So if we're on the clock like working, and his phone rings, he's like, oh, it's a lead. I'm like, bro, answer it. Like just go answer it. See if you can book it in. Or if we're staying late, it's like, oh, this customer wants a quote right now. I was like, bro, just tell them to pull up to our shop, like as we're working, and just go outside and just do it real quick. Because I remember like how hard it is to try to get a business going on like a full time work schedule, and it's like, well, when do you make the time to actually like do it? So it's like giving him the opportunity to answer the phone calls, or to like let some customers of his come to our shop in the parking lot. They don't drive into the shop or anything, but like in the parking lot, like talking to them and like doing whatever he needs to do. Yeah, I'm all about that. Just because like just being a good human being, like just help someone go into their next phase of life and business.
Yeah, you want to be a blessing, not a curse. You want to be a resource for them. We all know what it was like in the beginning. Yeah. Something I've been really passionate about lately is like gamifying the experience for our team, because at the end of the day, it's kind of like a game where you want to come in and you want to win every single day, and you don't win every day. Some days are terrible and hard, and you didn't really succeed on the job. I implemented an app. It's called Automate Motivate. And it's awesome. It gamifies what you want to incentivize. And so if they do the thing that you want them to do, they can go in the app and claim their points. And then once they get enough points, they can claim those points for like real stuff, like a new knife or a day off or free lunch. And it's transformed the culture of our company. It was good before, and now it's great. Because now we all have a game that we're playing together, and we have leaderboards, and if we all get enough points, we all win together, and there's some leaderboards that are cutthroat, and that's fun too. And so Automate Motivate, I really recommend our listeners check that out, because it really was a win for us. We've been doing it for about 6 or 8 months now, and it's been a huge win for them. So awesome. Just one of the ways that we make sure that they enjoy working here, because I don't want to lose any of my people. Right. Let's do some takeaways from today. This is a great conversation. The first thing I took away is making sure that we have clear expectations hiring, a good job description, good expectations once we hire the person. This is what's going to happen. This is how many hours you're going to have. This is what the pay is going to be. Number 2 was deliver on compensation, making sure that people feel like they're in a good place to work. And then also supporting side hustles. Don't be threatened by them, but support them. Remember what it was like when you were first starting out? And as long as it's not cutting into your business, you really should support them. Thanks for being on the show today, guys. Great talk. Where can people find out more about you guys?
You can go to Detail Groove on Instagram. Find me there. Give me a follow. Send me a DM. I can help you out however you need.
For me, Instagram, it's Brandon Sewell. I also have a link to my website, so you can go in there and find my other social media and connect with me there.
Awesome. If you liked this episode, leave a review, like it, listen on all your platforms, and we'll see you next time.